Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Week 12 edition of the Mad Dog and Pino wrap-up show, also known as the Mad Dog and Pino Review. How you doing tonight, Pino?
Word. It's the holiday review. Oh, that's right. We're the Mad Dog and Pino review now.
Yeah. I
This,
don't know.
this is our
Just testing it out.
post Thanksgiving edition, right?
Yeah.
We're well past. Are we past the 3/4 pole?
No, I was doing the math earlier because they play. There's 18 weeks, right? So it's
So is it like pi squared to the?
it is.
Are we into exponentials now? N-1.
I'm not sure, man. To be honest.
All right, that's a little out of my league. But yeah, happy holidays. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Walked into the studio today. It was like walking down Candy Cane Lane.
Happy holidays.
Podcast studio here in Hermosa Beach. Got the candy canes down the walkway, lights everywhere. Mad Dog getting to jump on the holiday spirit. As always.
Yeah,
Kris Kringle.
Got the exterior lights done. The interior will be done. Be done before the weekend's out.
Better be, man. Goddamn, I'm waiting for the that flatbed to come to drive up with the tree.
Can't fit it in this house, unfortunately.
That's one of the great stories I ever heard. If I could digress before we get into the game.
Sure.
Waxman said years ago, you're on 18th Street and there was literally a flatbed backing up the alley, and the Raiders played the Steelers that day.
Yeah.
And you and Mike were out there in your
jerseys.
And I guess Waxman drove by as the truck was back. You guys are directing the truck up there, and it was probably the end of a long day, I'm sure. And he's like, "Yeah, Steelers suck," and you're like, "Run out to the end of the drive, fuck you." Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. All right, so maybe that's a good place to start. So, like I was saying earlier, before we press record, it just seems like it's a long week of football. You know what I mean? It's like it seems like the games we're going to talk about first, if we go all the way back to Thanksgiving, or like a month ago. And then there was games every day, and like I don't know, there was a lot of celebrations in between, and I'm like, so I'm not sure how much I remember of some of these games, to be quite honest. But anyway, long week of football. So 3 games on Thursday, 1 game on the new game on Black Friday. Saturday was obviously college, and there was a lot happening in that sphere.
Let's go Ducks!
And the whole full slate, half slate, and Sunday, and then Monday, obviously.
There was early windows, late windows, Friday windows, Black Friday windows, Holy Thursday windows. Like, I don't even know how many windows. I couldn't even count the windows. Other than it was like the renewal by Anderson.
Exactly.
They should have put those commercials on it. And no Jardians, by the way.
Second
week in a row.
I swear to God, they heard it. You know what? It's funny you say that. I was watching the Syracuse basketball game again. I'll digress for a second.
Right.
And guess which commercial
that came on?
Yeah, exactly.
Our girl dancing on the fountain.
Exactly. So they moved on to college basketball, apparently.
I kind of miss it. I mean, I gave it so much. Maybe we were a little too hard on it.
I know, man.
Because
come on, bring it back. Guys.
I did see it, like, watch it, because they show that commercial like round the clock, whether you put on CNN or Fox or whatever news, like cable news channel you put on during the day. That commercial is always running. And beside our girl, like the actors in that commercial, with the way they, she walks up to the guy selling apples, like in the old school fruit stand, and he's grooving, man. Everyone's just vibing. You got that A1C under control. It's diabetes, by the way.
Yes, I understand.
I mean, I'm not trying to educate. I found out myself. I'm just validating it for me.
Okay, it is. Yes.
And so I do think I remember. I probably have a better recollection of last year's playoff games than I do what happened before Sunday, because it just one thing ran into the other.
All right, so I've been hitting this every week, so I don't want to
hit it hard.
Hit it too
hard.
hard.
Ride that bear. Oh, we still have the Planet of the Apes course.
We do. We don't need it anymore.
as our loyal listeners and viewers will notice, it's not. We did spend the $13 and got the headset adapter. So word up. But we're going to keep the Planet of the Apes guy. Is going to be.
Yeah, that's going to be our.
He'll be with us forever.
Yeah, and we know we got to get rid of the Dodgers glasses.
When we ink that Spotify deal, the Planet of the Apes is coming with us.
That's right. That's going to be in the contract. Anyway, so the dead horse. My apologies, Caesar. that we've been that I've been beating is the fact that there's just still a lot of ugly football going on. This week, 16 teams scored less than 20 points, and it's always around half the league that can't get over the 20 mark. And present company, both our teams are guilty
proudly
of that,
representing
proudly representing that half of the league. But it's just ugly. And there's a couple games, and we'll get into it in the games. A couple games are just ugly. This game on Monday night was Jesus Christ. It was like watching paint dry. But anyway, so I just don't know what's the reason for it. But now we're getting into bad weather, so this will be the lowest. Be shocked if it isn't, but this will be the lowest scoring in almost 20 years in the NFL.
And it's supposed to be the offensive league.
I know.
Wide open, like you can't touch a receiver, you can't hit a receiver, you can't touch a quarterback, can't do this.
So
yet, can they do, I mean, you're the gambling guy here on the
yeah.
show. I mean, they can't put like the over-under at 18, right?
They could.
Think some games they should.
They could. They should have been yours,
right? Well, they'll get people to bet, right? If they put the 18, exactly. And everyone will lose because they take the over.
Exactly.
Well, it was. You see the controversy that came out this week. Our boy Brady.
No.
Tom Brady, like on his podcast. Let's go. That's the name of his podcast. Followed,
Oh, you mean talking about? It's kind of
like
what I've
mediocrity.
been saying.
Mediocrity in the NFL. But his deal is
I thought that was like a week or so ago. But yeah, no.
Well, no, it was. Yeah. It first came out last week, and then apparently he doubled down.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Good. I think he's right. I mean, he may not be right for the reasons he's saying, but
I saw Troy Aikman today on. You ever watch? What's the one with Kornheiser and?
Yeah, pardon the interruption.
PTI.
Yeah.
So they had Aikman on, and by the way, for me, Aikman is the best analyst there is.
He's good. He's getting a little Tony Romo disease.
Yeah,
he says some of these drunkish comments.
Right, he's starting to get like he's just having like he's at a comedy club. right. But which is why I like him. But so they interviewed him today, and they asked him about Brady's comments about there's too much mediocre play in the NFL.
Yeah, and
Aikman had a great line. It was basically to the effect he said like, well, if you're talking about Tom Brady, like, isn't everything mediocre?
Fair point. Right. In comparison.
You're right. He goes, Brady thought I was mediocre.
Oh, man. So I think that's a good segue into another theme that we've been hitting along the way here, which is kind of the wings of change in the NFL. One of the teams that did not get to 20 points last week was the Carolina Panthers. Who are now 1-10, and they fired Frank Reich after 11 games in the season. This is, from the owner, David Tepper, who actually used to be a minority owner in the Steelers,
right, for years, right?
Exactly. And since he's taken over the Carolina Panthers, which was only, I don't know,
it's 5 years.
5 years ago. They've had more coaches than the Steelers have had in 50.
He took so, everything he learned in Pittsburgh and said, "Fuck it, I'm doing the opposite."
Exactly, I'm doing it my way.
It's opposite day.
So I don't know. You kind of feel bad for Frank Reich.
Second year in a row, he's fired a coach.
Yeah.
Before the end of the season.
I think it's definitely second.
Like
year,
Rule, he fired Rule last year.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
And then they had Steve Wilkes, who did a good job.
He did a good job, and he didn't.
And he got rid of him. Got Reich. And but shouldn't the GM be fired for not drafting C.J. Stroud? I mean, hindsight's 2020.
Actually, again,
is it 2020 or 2040?
2020.
You're 2020 with the glasses on.
I think
contact him.
I think I don't. There's enough. You'll never hear it from Frank Reich. I mean, by all accounts, he's kind of a classy guy, but I think it's clear that this owner is just meddling in kind of everything, and he may have meddled in who they picked number 1 overall.
Right.
So I think it's. I mean, who's going to take that job? I mean,
who wants it? Like he strikes me as like a guy. He's a billionaire playing fantasy football with a real football team.
Right.
Is what he's doing. I mean, you cannot blow coaches out 11 games in consecutive seasons, and apparently he owns an MLS team.
Yeah.
As well, and
I didn't know. Yeah,
so he's owned both. He's been the primary owner of both the MLS team and the Panthers for literally something like 8 years, and he's had a total of 7 coaches.
And he's tried to I did know that because they tried to he's even fucking up other things, like they tried to build he tried to get the city to partially fund an $800 million practice facility for both teams.
Oh, he did.
And fell through because he pushed too hard and everything else. So
he
just sounds like a real winner. I don't know.
Somebody should look into his hedge fund and see if it was not affiliated with Madoff or Bankman Fried.
Exactly.
Right, because he does not seem like a stable dude. And he had a press conference today. I didn't see it. Apparently, it's 15 minutes of him rambling nonsense.
I did hear some of it, but he basically said, anyone who knows me. I've had patience in every other one of my businesses. Of course, I have patience here. I'm like, well, it doesn't. Proof's in the pudding, but
yeah, you got no patience. Like exactly. How long till they cut? And what has to make them fucking crazy is that they're going to have the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
apparently.
Yeah,
and they're not going to have.
No, they're not going to.
The
Chicago
Bears are going to get it.
So that's
the Bears are going to have an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. So that was. So I was going to cover that. So
Bears.
So arguably, we can debate who made the number 1 pick, but let's not forget what they gave up. They gave up their number 1
receiver.
They gave up their number 1 last year, their number 1 this year, a number 2 this year, a number 2 in 2025, and DJ Clark, who's
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. I'm sorry, I just get those confused.
That's right.
Who had 1,000 yards receiving already this season with Chicago quarterbacks.
Right.
Like,
with Justin Fields, who can't throw the ball more than 5 yards down
and
the
has
field.
missed like 6 games.
Right.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
And he gives him Adam Thielen, who's 42 years old.
Right. So anyway, it's just like, that's just a mess. And like, again, I just don't know who's going to take their job. The one person I heard today that makes sense, and again, I don't know if he'd want the job, but is Bill O'Brien, because Bill O'Brien coached Bryce Young in his was his OC in Alabama. So
doesn't that seem like a hire that would not make it through the season either?
Yeah, it has a high beta for sure, man.
But yeah, who's gonna take it?
I don't know. But so anyway, that's enough.
He's like a bad George Steinbrenner, and I don't know much about him.
Probably enough on the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, not many people care.
I was going to say that's probably the most we've ever spoken about the Carolina Panthers.
Most anyone's talking about it. But poor Frank Reich, he was a Terp.
Yeah.
He was like, when I was there, he was Boomer's backup.
Yeah,
I used to see him at the Elegant Dining Hall, and then he led that great comeback.
He was at Jim Kelly's backup as well.
Yeah.
All right. So the other big news of the week, and this, I guess it's a good thing we are doing it on a Wednesday. So Aaron Rodgers, who we spent a lot of time talking about in this podcast, has been cleared to go back to practice.
Non-contact practice. I guess that means he's doing what he's been doing before every Monday night game.
Yeah,
like standing on a field throwing a football.
I'm sure, but he's still kind of making noises like that he wants to play. Which I can only partially relate to. Obviously, I've never played in the NFL, but if you're a competitive person, you want to do what you're good at. So I get that. But isn't someone got to pull him aside and say, "Have you seen our offensive line?"
Right, dude. Like, you're 40 years old. Like, this is unprecedented.
Let's just roll it forward to next year.
One more non-contact injury, and you're never playing again.
Exactly.
So. And even if so say he comes back, right, and they win a couple games, and then they squeak into some wild card. Like, are they doing anything?
No. So listen. You know how much I'm sick of this shtick, but I am hopeful that someone talks some sense into him.
They really should
run him back next year. So those,
who's going to talk? Who's going to talk some sense into him? It's a Scarlet Letter, Nate Hackett. He's going to be like, dude, wait till next year, because if you come back,
then I got a job.
Suck, I'm done. They're going to fire me.
Exactly. I got a job for another year if you don't come back.
That's exactly right.
All right. Those are kind of the opening remarks I had. I don't know what else you caught this last month or whatever of games.
Yeah, it's been a while. I got two things that just from an open So relative to when did the NFL come out with the new rule that it's okay now for the offense to do the choreographed
that's funny. That's funny you say that, but I noticed the same thing. I was like, what the hell?
Like, the Ravens were like, they were throwing bouquets
of flowers.
One thing I got to give Lamar credit for, because they showed it over and over. When Zay Flowers was describing what he did,
he's like,
Lamar looked at him like, that's fucking stupid.
Exactly. Like, what are you doing?
But then the next one, it was like a penalty kick.
Yeah.
And then who was the quarterback that came out and slapped Johnny in the face?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I saw that one.
Yeah,
too.
Meanwhile, I don't know what game, when I was flipping around, a receiver caught a touchdown and literally probably went, yeah, to the DB.
Right, and that's a
whoa,
flag.
out came the flag.
Exactly. I guess.
But you could run the entire team off the sideline and
I guess you
do
can't.
a little dance, make a little love.
That's not time.
Right?
No,
it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And it just seems to have started up again.
You're right.
Because it was only
the
turnovers.
Defensive turnovers.
Right. And that's bringing the whole sideline.
Right.
And somebody go find the practice squad.
Oh, man.
And then the only thing relative to the holiday spirit, I never remember it, and I do want to try it. Is the Madden, is it turducken?
I think so. I think we tried to come up with that last podcast.
Right.
None of this.
And by the way, Mad Pup, we miss you.
We do miss you.
But it's turducken, right? It's turkey and duck. I don't know why I thought it was chicken. That makes no sense. Turkey and chicken are the same thing.
I think it is turkey and duck, but how they get extra legs on it, I don't know.
Yeah, turducken. I gotta get a turducken one year. Yeah. I think I remember a couple years ago there's a guy I think in New Orleans.
Who actually makes it. Yeah.
Right. All right, that's all I got. We can get into the games.
All right. Well, let's stay with the Thanksgiving theme. And first of all, shout out to, we did a rare, let's do our picks against the spread last week, and I narrowed it only to the Thanksgiving Day games, and guess who out of the three of us got them all right? Pino, what the fuck?
Every once in a while. Is that a squirrel? A squirrel finds a blind squirrel finds an acorn or something like that.
So the first game of the day was the Packers at the Lions. Packers 29 and Lions 22.
I was wrong in this one. That I just thought the spread. It was a pretty big spread, right?
Yeah,
I just thought it was too big.
It was 8.5, I think. But so anyway, again, I probably said it last podcast. I know I did. Never bet against the Lions on Thanksgiving, but Jared Goff, who I've given personally a ton of props on, on these podcasts, is turned into a turnover machine, man.
In the last 2 weeks, right? He's turning it over like he's fumbling, throwing picks.
He lost three fumbles.
Right.
Those are
now we're probably back to he has small hands.
Exactly.
That conversation.
Exactly. And this game wasn't even close. Jordan Love played a great game. They were up 29-14, and then the Lions scored a cheap touchdown in the end. And I think we all appreciate Dan Campbell's personality and his fire and everything. And his guts, I mean, he makes some really gutsy calls, but I mean,
there's no such thing as a fourth down in that man.
Exactly. He was 0 for 5 on fourth down, I think, in this game. Maybe it was 1 for 5, but he faked a punt at his own 26.
Yeah, do you think they're getting a little over their skis, on how good they are and all? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
they're jumping the gun kind
of
thing.
Bit. I think they have the division.
Win the division first.
Right. So they got to clean some things up. They should have lost to the Bears 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So they really have some things to clean up.
So they're going to look at the film and clean a few things up.
Right?
Yeah. But I think their secondary's not very good, right? Is that what one of their problems is? They give up big. Yeah, they give up big plays.
Their defense. Yeah. The short answer is yes. Their defense is just kind of falling apart a little.
They got that dude, the D lineman from the Wolverines. What's his name?
Aiden Hutchinson.
Hutchinson. Yeah. Remember last year he was I loved it when he did this. When he got a sack, he did that Michael Jackson leg kick that I'm famous for.
Yes, he did.
He's got away from that, which kind of bummed me out.
So okay, the other team that obviously says something about you think about when you think about Thanksgiving is the Cowboys. Commanders played at the Cowboys. Commanders 10, Cowboys 45. This was just, I don't know. This was just total domination. The Cowboys, here's the thing about the Cowboys, it's hard to get excited about them because they always do this to teams they should do it to. You know what I mean?
Right. Their big deal is next weekend.
Yeah.
Because are they on a bot? No, they play Thursday.
Yeah, they play Philly. They play Seattle and then Philadelphia. So I mean, Seattle at least has a winning record, but they should beat Seattle, I would think. But I don't.
If you go look at the tape, them at home, I said, hey, they boat race. They boat race everybody at home.
Exactly.
That's why I jumped on them.
Exactly. And Dak Prescott is playing MVP level. I mean, no one wants to hear that. Even Dallas fans don't want to hear that, but it's true. I mean,
because they all been down this road before.
Well,
Where like it looks great, and then
I was gonna wait, and I still will a couple weeks to get into this, but the QB carousel is going to start spinning here fairly quickly, and we have to get our our insightful analysis on that. But
except in New York,
but the one,
we got our guy.
the one it starts with is Dak Prescott, who does have an extra year on his contract, but if they don't extend him, then who knows what happens.
Right.
Anyway. And and the market's already risen to 50 million a year. That's like the starting point. Like it's going to get crazy. Anyway, I'll save that for another day. Yeah. And the other thing to say this game was the player of the game, I think, was Dak Prescott and Deron Bland, who I highlighted last weekend. He had another pick six.
Right, he broke the record, right?
Exactly.
Like, so now he has 5 on this.
Yeah, he's 6, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it is 6, which is more than most receivers in the NFL.
It's more than any receiver on my team.
Yeah, you know who's bummed is what's his name? Diggs, the guy who's hurt. He's
right.
Like, hey, I was supposed to be the pick 6
exactly.
guy.
Now you're taking man.
Shit, they're gonna cut me.
Yeah, no, seriously. And the Commanders are just reeling. They've let up so many points the last 4 weeks. They actually, again, this is sort of breaking news. They fired Jack Del Rio and another coach on the defense side of the ball to hopefully fix
because there's no way they'd fire Eric Bieniemy. That would create a major fucking problem. that would be a snafu. But I gotta believe that Riverboat Ron, he's probably jealous of Frank Reich right now. Because he's like, he's like, dead man walking.
Exactly. Yeah, at least Frank got like another 4, gets paid for another 4
right,
years.
yeah, because he just signed his deal. Like, that ink's not even dry.
Exactly.
I don't even think that thing's been notarized yet, right? He's still got to get paid.
Ron Rivera's like, he's got 12 more paychecks.
Ron's like, geez, but that's it.
Or not even, he's got 6 more paychecks.
He's like, hey, the Carolina gig's open again. I used to coach there.
Honestly, I think I was making Thanksgiving dinner. I don't have anything else to say about this.
I don't either. Yeah, I think I might have been eating or sleeping. I'm not sure what I was doing. But yeah, I don't have a lot on this one. And then the Thursday night game, that's always a tough one.
Yeah.
Like the Thursday night game of Thanksgiving Day is like, people, you're just worn the fuck out.
Exactly. Like, all right, let's yeah.
I've had wine. I've had a few Bloody Marys.
Exactly.
We might have had an Irish coffee.
You've been eating all day.
Right.
Exactly.
Tryptophan, is that what it's called?
That is what it's called. Yes. There's some of that going on.
Pour some more gravy on my goddamn stuffing. I'll just pick at it.
But this wasn't even a game, though. That's one of the reasons we probably all
who
kind
played?
of fell asleep.
Seattle and who?
49ers.
Oh, that's right.
49ers 31. It's Seattle at the Seahawks 13. And it was over before halftime. It was 24-3 at halftime. McCaffrey, I think, had 100 yards in the first half.
Did he get a touchdown or did he suck again?
He got a couple touchdowns.
Oh, okay, so he's pretty good.
Exactly.
He's not that bad.
And Geno Smith, I mean, you know what? I think it was, again, when they extended him and ran it back with him, I think we all knew there might be a potential regression to the mean there, and I think it's happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of regression to the mean.
So yeah.
But the thing today I heard was he's supposedly been hurt. Like, and Uncle Pete was like, man, he's running around today like nothing, like day or night.
Oh, okay.
I think he's trying to pump him up.
Yeah, he might be. So 49ers are 8-3. I think they basically clinched the division after that.
And there you got the big game Sunday.
Yeah, and so we're gonna get into it with the Eagles. I put them pretty high up in the non-Thanksgiving order.
Okay.
But yeah, the 49ers have a big game next week against the Eagles.
I can't believe we're still in the Thanksgiving. Like, we haven't even got to Sunday yet.
Exactly.
We've been on here for an hour?
So yeah, let's do the one remaining weekday game. That would be the Dolphins, who beat the Jets.
Jets and Timmy Boyle
at MetLife Stadium, 34-13. This game was interesting, I would say. So
it wasn't even that close. It wasn't as close.
No,
as
it wasn't. But
right?
but at the very end of the first half, just to give the Jets fans some hope, I think they climbed back into it. I think it was like I'm sorry. I think it was because they scored a touchdown. So it was 10-6.
They had a puncher's chance.
They climbed back into it. It was 10-6.
And then they had the ball in midfield.
Then they had the ball in midfield. Let's say, after an interception, by the way. And then they said, "Fuck it, let's write Hail Mary."
They said, "Fuck it." You know what they said? I think at the timeout, they said, "Fuck it, let's get the Sanchez off the hook for the butt fumble." Because I think the butt fumble was on Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
All right. So go ahead, take it from there.
so they throw a Hail Mary that not only doesn't get knocked down, gets intercepted, and then returned for 99 yards for a touchdown.
And somewhere Mark Sanchez was smiling and saying they're not going to talk about, because that is the, and it was picked up by Javon Holland, a Duck, Jack's boy. But yeah, when I did see that live and just cracked up.
I did too. I literally fell on the floor laughing.
I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
This couldn't happen to any other team in the NFL. There's just no way.
And do you think Zach Wilson was on the sideline going like, "Hey, motherfuckers"?
Exactly. I would have thrown it through the end zone.
Right, man. It would have been knocked down for me for sure.
Yeah, and then I don't know. The second half, I didn't pay much attention to be honest. The Dolphins ran away with it, and Tyreek Hill is still Tyreek Hill, and Mostert's still Mostert, and you know what? The storyline we've lost a little bit throughout the season is Tua's not been hurt, man. He's healthy.
So it must have been like those karate or judo lessons he took.
It must have
learn how to, like, they must have helped, right?
It must have been.
The other thing we haven't talked about with the Dolphins, this is more important than Tyreek Hill or who's coming back, or Jalen Ramsey came back for them. He's playing again. Is those pants that Mike McDaniels wears? Like, they got a lot of play this week.
Yeah.
I got to find them. Are they like Lululemon?
Hey, Christmas is only a few weeks away.
Hey, I put it on my list. I put it on my list to Santa. But is he back? Like, is that wild? And he wears them like with their pulled up above his calf.
Exactly.
And did you see him running off? Like, I know he likes to run off the field.
Yeah, he definitely likes.
And after that pick six on the Hail Mary,
yeah.
Oh man, he was sprinting like he was running right alongside the cheetah.
Oh man.
And then the story came out that he told some running, like he met his wife on the dance, like
I haven't heard
whatever. Anyway, but those pants, his style is awesome. And you know how I pay attention to that shit.
Exactly. I know. You picked that shit up, not me.
Right. I missed that one too. I was kind of
bummed. Oh yeah, and by the way, it's congratulations to Tyreek Hill, who just got married, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I just read that. Anyway, okay, so let's move to Sunday's games, or the weekend's games, I guess. And the game of the weekend was the Bills and Eagles. Bills went into Lincoln Stadium,
hostile territory,
and gave the Eagles everything they could handle. Unfortunately, they didn't win. It was 30. They lost 37-34.
I feel for the Bills fans, because it's just like
I did too. They had
the last thing you want to see as a Bills fan is for them to take a lead with less than a minute left in the game.
Exactly,
because it's at a minimum going to overtime.
And not only that, they had 2 10-point leads, including one in the fourth quarter, I think. And then, obviously lost that. Jalen Hurts literally put the team out of it. Was actually a great game to watch because Josh Allen put his team on his back and Jalen Hurts put his team on his back, and they both like literally willed their teams.
And it was good. Like it was like a Madden type game. There was weather,
exactly.
We had rain, right?
Torrential down.
There was some real questionable calls, I thought.
Yeah.
Especially in the first half. Like I thought Allen got hit out of bounds. It would have been first to go from like the half the distance kind of thing. And then somebody on the offense got like in the Philadelphia guys like got in his grill, and then they threw a flag on him on the Bills guy. So instead of being first to go at the 5, it was like now 2nd and 30 at the 28. Or that math doesn't work. But you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Like they're so inconsistent. There was one in the Monday night game with Herbert he was 2 steps out of bounds.
Right.
And they didn't throw a flag. I'm like, aren't we supposed to be protecting quarterbacks?
And by the way, I read some kind of like, and it wasn't Fox News, and it's a conspiracy theory. Like it's Hockley, Ed Hockley's kid, right? Is the referee.
He's the muscular dude. Yeah.
Hocken. Like the Eagles are like 5-0 against the spread with his.
Oh, is that right?
When his crew does their games.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know, food for thought. But they even had like poor Josh Allen, like what's his name? Gabe
Well, I don't know what player you're talking about, but
the one in the end zone where he
so
ran a
Gabe
corner
Davis,
instead of a post.
Yes,
Gabe Davis,
yeah.
I mean, that was a touchdown. It's just
So
and the game's over.
There was a couple interesting things in this game before we even got to overtime. One was the Bills literally, again, Josh Allen put him on the back. How many times has he let him score a touchdown, leave the field with a lead, only to lose it with his defense? So I've been saying this for many weeks. The Bills just have too many injuries on defense to be a complete team right now, and that's not going to get solved this year. But the other thing was the Eagles got the ball back. They did drive down the field, but Jake Myers, is that his name? He kicked a 59-yard field goal in the rain to tie it up.
The thing never it was never more than 8 inches over the crossbar. I was
going to say that, man,
and it was going right.
It was like something you would throw in wiffle ball.
It was like a frisbee. Yeah, it was either a wiffle ball or like a frisbee.
But kudos to him, man. He made a 59-yard field goal in that weather. So here's the interesting
thing. The thing that sucked about that, they always had they had a reference like he did kick a 61-yarder to beat the Giants 3 years. Like
so the interesting thing before we get to overtime is the Bills they got the ball at like the 25. They had 20 seconds left. And they had one timeout. And of all teams that know that that's enough time to get into field goal range, like,
all you need is 16 seconds, right?
Exactly. I'm like, and when they do, they take a fucking knee. And I'm like, I get it, the weather and all that shit, but you just witnessed Josh Allen to throw the ball.
I got
all over the field. I mean, it just didn't make any sense.
I got to believe with those guys going forward, dude, that no longer will they're going to go into that clock management mode when they're coming back, when they're down, right? It's fourth quarter. Hey, we're inside a minute. They're going to be like, we're running an offense that we do not leave anything on the clock.
Yeah.
We're not putting our defense out there. They're 500. That's crazy.
I know. And they're the 10 seed right now. And again, I still think they might sneak in the playoffs, but they're making things pretty hard on them. They have a bye this week and a KC coming out of the bye. So
and they're playing that game. That's in Kansas City, right?
Yeah. So speaking of schedule, like the Eagles, like I'm sure it's random or somewhat semi-random. The NFL schedule makers drew this up for the Eagles. Kansas City, I think on the road, Bills at home, San Francisco on the road, I think, and then Dallas. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right, but then they got 2 byes in the last 3 weeks. They got at Giants and then home versus Giants. so they are going to let them get healthy going into the playoffs.
And then listen, everyone says this, like the Eagles still haven't played their best game, but they're winning. And I'm like, but at some point, maybe isn't that just who they are? They just win. I'm like,
right,
they just don't play that well.
They got the best record in the NFL, right? Last time I looked,
by far.
But the beauty is they lost. The only losses to the Jets.
I know. That's what I was going to say.
Zach Wilson.
Who remembered that? Holy shit. Anyway, so looking forward to seeing what happens to the Eagles 49ers this week, and the Bills. I was like kind of putting a nail in their coffin, but there's too many teams at the bottom of the AFC playoff picture. They're playing inexperienced quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit's going to change, right?
Yeah, so I think they still might.
The only issue I have with the Eagles, so I get a lot of them, like their fans.
Yeah, well,
the team, that fucking coach. I hate that coach. Some coach needs to run across the field and beat his ass. Like he's way too celebrate. Like he's almost taunting the other team. Yeah, as a head coach, you should act like you've been there before, as Vince Lombardi said.
Exactly.
But they broke out kind of the old school,
the
Kelly Green. But they weren't. It didn't seem to me like they were the full Kelly. They weren't like the Randall Cunningham throwback.
I hear you. Like, they did look a little off.
Kind of half-assed. They half-assed it.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right, you want to talk about another game?
Yeah, let's go.
Excuse me. All right,
we're not keeping you up, huh? I see like all those zip ties over there. That must be from the Christmas decorating. For those of you who can't see, like there might be 1,000 more zip ties left. So
more lights to hang.
Mad Dog's gonna be like Chevy Chase. Like we're all gonna come here on Sunday, and he's gonna hit that transformer, and here comes Cousin Eddie's gonna pull up in the RV. Had emptied the shitter, Mad Dog.
All right, so the game of the week, I think, in the AFC was the Jags at the Texans. because it was for first place in that division. If everyone remembers, the Texans beat the Jags in week 2 or 3, I think. So they already had a game on them.
I don't think any of us were paying attention to the Texans at that point. We didn't expect much.
But all of a sudden, we have to pay attention to the Texans. The Jags won 24-21. Great game, back and forth all the way. C.J. Stroud and Lawrence,
the Prince,
yeah, exactly.
Prince Harry.
Obviously, are two.
Was he banging Meghan Markle? I mean, they call him the Prince, or maybe, who knows?
I did have this thought watching them because they both had great games. It's just, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but remember how those like Manning and Brady had all those
like those epic clashes,
and
Manning won all of them, but I mean Brady won all of them.
They were in the same division for a while, and then they ended up being different divisions. Anyway, I kind of had that thought when I was watching them. But I'm sure your favorite play of the game was the last play of the game when they kicked a 59-yard field goal. The Texans did to try to tie the game,
send it to overtime, right?
And we got a doink, but it was a rare crossbar doink.
I mean, and so here's what I was trying to as I thought about it for what we're going to say about it this week was, first of all, it's bummed for the kicker, right? I mean, it was way on the edge of his range.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud took a sack 2 plays earlier.
I know
that cost him 8 yards.
I was going to say that.
The guy missed it by 8 inches.
Yeah.
Right, and he kicked it hit. So if it hits the crossbar, is it a doink? Because I always thought if you hit the upright, that's the doink. So I don't know what you call that. We'll call it a doink.
All right.
But the thing that was what bummed me out for the kicker, and it was Danny Amendola. Didn't he used to play wide receiver for the Patriots?
I don't know.
Right? Isn't it? Right?
That does ring a bell.
Every time he ran out, hey, here's Danny Amendola. I'm like, what the fuck? You talk about reinventing yourself? But what bummed me out for this kid was that not only did he doink it off the crossbar, I think he literally it probably hit where the crossbar met the stanchion.
Yeah, you're right.
Didn't we establish last week?
We did.
That's the stanchion,
yes.
Right? And I mean, it was 6 to 8 inches off. He missed it by.
Right.
But he kicked it straight. He kicked it. It was a lot better looking kick than the Eagles kicker.
Yeah,
that sent it in overtime.
Definitely.
But I guess
a little less successful.
But it's a results business.
All right, you want anything more?
No, just other than the fact that, I know he took the sack, and if he didn't take that sack, obviously probably that game goes into overtime. C.J. Stroud, but for all the I know he had some turnovers in that game, but still he drove him down the field to get in arguably
I know.
Right, and who's this fucking Tank Dell guy?
I know. That's the other thing. I mean, again, maybe we'll learn over the course of a few years that Tank Dell is Antonio Brown or something, or someone like that. But yeah, on paper, he's a 3rd-round draft choice,
right?
I'm and they just got journeyman basically as their wide receiver.
But I don't think there's any doubt who's coach of the year, right? At this point, even though they lost, DeMarco Ryans has to be coach of the year.
I can't imagine he's not.
But
unless you're boy in Philadelphia, man, maybe he'll give him a run.
Who's going to be who's their offensive coordinator? Do you know? Do you even know? I don't know.
It is. I do know. I can't come up with.
He'll probably.
He's a first-year play caller.
All right, so which means he's probably going to get hired.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, they're excited. He's a fun quarterback to watch.
Yeah. No, they're a good team. All right. So
You think J.J. Watt's coming back? He's like, well, I fucking got out of here too early.
No, I didn't. All right, so Steelers 16 at the Bengals 10.
Fucking offensive jargon. Oh, Canada.
Exactly.
Get the fuck out of here.
So
we're going to roll up 400 yards of offense.
I think I last week said, we have to wait and see if these changes make sense. And I'm like, no,
changes.
We don't have
to. Wasn't I late on changes last week?
You were. We don't have to wait on that one. So it was a little bit of a, I want to say, it was a little bit of a fuck you to Matt Canada. The first play of the game, they throw a seam down the middle to a tight end, which is they haven't hit the middle of the field or thrown the ball to a tight end in 4 weeks.
What happened on that play? Did Kenny Pickett take 4 steps, put his foot in the ground, and fucking throw it on time?
It was like he was on schedule.
Was on schedule
and everything else. Yeah. So anyway, they did break the streak of, as Pino was pointing out, they did beat their streak of 58 straight games without, or whatever it was, without 400 yards. And
that didn't really translate into points.
No, they threw a touchdown pass that Deontay Johnson took 3 steps, and then they called an incomplete pass, and Tomlin or his crew was not smart enough to challenge it. Next play, they fumbled. So it could have been 23. It's still not a shit ton of points.
We need to talk about Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, so that's why I mentioned it. So the reason that touchdown didn't at least turn into points was the next play, Jalen Warren fumbled, and Deontay Johnson just like there's video of him that is like, you should immediately be like cut. I mean, it's so bad because he just watches the ball, watches.
Dude didn't even watch it. Like he walked, like they snapped the ball. He took 2 steps. Like he wasn't even going to block. It was a running play.
Right.
The fumble fucking like almost ran over, like bounced over his cleat or hit his cleat.
Yeah. And he
reminded me when Kaylee was in AYSO and she decided she wasn't interested.
Exactly.
And like we're over at the fucking middle school, like I'm wasting my Saturday, and literally she's standing there, and the soccer ball rolled right over her cleat. She didn't even move, and I'm like, what? Why am I buying the fucking Becker's cookies? Like, why are we here? So I'm surprised that Tomlin,
you never know what goes on behind closed doors, I guess. But
he's going to handle it well, because that is definitely not the standard.
Yeah,
if the standard is the standard, moping like that. I think it might be
I think it might be a double standard.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right.
So I thought the one funny comment, the Bengals obviously are without Joe Burrow, so it's not like a huge win. Their defense sucks. So the fact that we rolled over them, like, hooray. But Joe Burrow, you made the comment last podcast, that guy's always sitting by himself. And even in street clothes, he's sitting by himself.
I told you last podcast, and I said, you don't talk so much, Henry.
Exactly.
What's the matter? You
just
I'm quiet. I don't know what to say. I'm a good fella.
So I thought that was interesting. And Jake Brown,
he is always sitting by. There is no one near him ever on the bench.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think I kind of noticed that before, but you pointed it out, and I'm like, he's in street clothes, and no one is talking about him.
Right. You would at least, and as much as we bang on Rodgers, at least he
he's.
I know he knows where the camera is, and he wants to look like he's a great teammate.
Right.
And all these other guys seem to be doing shit on the sidelines. He's like.
Like,
can we get the fuck out of here?
When is this 3 hours going to be over?
When do I get to put my cool sunglasses on? So they scored. So the Steelers had over 40 yards of offense, right?
Yeah, for the first time in a long
And they
time.
scored less points than the Giants.
Yeah, and they did. So that's a good segue. Listen, I'm not getting super excited about the Steelers, but
dude, they're going to win that division.
Well, I don't know about that.
The Ravens always come back. They're. You look at their this could be Tomlin's best coaching job.
Ravens have a bye. The Steelers will be unless they completely fuck up. They play the Cardinals and then the Patriots on Thursday night.
Oh, dude, that's like 2 buys.
Yeah, exactly. So they play twice before the fucking Ravens play again. They could legitimately be in first place before the Ravens play again.
I think they will be. So, they should win both those games as long as the standard is a standard. And then the only thing I got to I think I said it to you on Sunday. We were at Barley for a pup's leaving.
Yeah.
Boswell's thong is getting shorter.
Yes, it is.
I think it's now crotchless. I'm surprised we didn't see his joint flopping out of there. What the fuck with that guy?
That's funny. All right, so that's a good segue to your team. They played the Pats.
Tommy 2 times. He won 2 games.
I am absolutely not going to say much about this game, but Tommy DeVito led you to 2 straight.
Tommy used to work on the dice.
And I know you want to see him win, I think, anyway, but you're playing yourself. You're no longer in the Caleb Williams. You're probably not in the Drake May. I don't know what sweepstakes.
Only the Giants could fuck with you the way they do, right? Because it's kind of like I'm watching the game. This is a joke, right? So a couple of things coming out of the game. Yeah, I'm conflicted. I guess that's the word, right? Yeah, conflicted. I would have preferred they lost the last 2 weeks,
right?
But they didn't. So Tommy DeVito, 2 times, 2 wins. He got sacked 7 more times.
Yes.
The fucking dude, if he doesn't chuck it, downfield, and
Right.
I mean he throws a pretty decent ball. It looks like the ones he completes.
Yeah.
But 7-9 times a game getting sacked because he's just standing back there like he's still at Don Bosco in Bergen County,
Right.
right? But so and a good like the defense seems to be like they said. One thing I guess I'll give Dable credit for is that they all seem to still be engaged. Like, because this thing went off the rails 3 weeks ago,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's right.
With the ass kickings they got. And the fact that Tommy DeVito's your quarterback. So there's a couple things. I guarantee they're sold out of cutelettes in New Jersey. Like every mom for every high school kid is making the chicken cutelettes with the vodka sauce, right? Like, because, that's got enough play. I heard today, I was listening to WFAN, like I kind of stream that. And, it's a Giants bye week. So there was he lives in Cedar Grove, right? It's well documented. The mom makes the bed. Still,
right.
Makes them the cutelettes. And the dad owns the plumbing company. Forgot about it. But there was some sandwich shop where he was signing shit if they bought a sandwich, and the line was like fucking down the street.
Is that right?
Like all the Guidos are out, and so the best thing coming out of that game, and they talked about it a couple times. So first of all, after the first touchdown, like he goes out, he's got like the hey, forget about it, like the whole team does it with him, right?
Right.
But they talked about like there was 200 DeVito family and friends, at the tailgate and at the game. And then they showed like the mom, the dad, and then, a little bit of a widescreen. It was as if the only two people missing from that shot were Snooki and the Situation. This is fucking Jim Tanning Lawn, GTL, like a motherfucker. That entire group, I guarantee you they have beach houses in Seaside Heights. GTL and Snooki and I'm Sammy Sweetheart. Forget about it. I just wish JWoww was there because I like JWoww when I watched that. So I guess it's a great story. The kid, he's got some balls, right? Like even though he's in there taking a beating, he doesn't fumble when he gets sacked.
Listen, he's improved every week. That's all you can ask for with a young quarterback.
Jalen Hyatt had over 100 yards receiving.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is you're playing yourself
they
out of the draft.
They keep fucking us. I mean, we'll be picking 12.
Here comes Danny Jones.
Right. Is Harrison Jr. going to be available at 12? I don't think so. But like the crowd, and his dad and mom, like his dad owns the plumbing company, and they all the dudes in the crowd, and even him when they show him walking in, they all got the Italian horns. Like all my boys in Belmar, when we rented houses, they all had the Italian horns and the guinea teas. Butana, Bufana. All right. It's a Giants house. All right, enough about that.
Enough about that.
Who they? Oh, they have a bye. That's why he was signing sandwiches.
All right, so we're gonna have to go rapid fire here a little bit.
And by the only thing we missed is like, what other Giant game ever in the history of the New York Football Giants does New England miss that kick to send it into overtime? Ever. It never happened.
I was going to say we didn't say anything about New England, but New England is 2-10 or something.
Oh yeah, Mac Jones Mrs. Jones,
and Mac Jones got benched again, and Zappy
came
in and still didn't do anything. So I don't. It's so off the rails there. Like I don't know how they rate.
The only good thing about all that is just the Belichick press conference is just like I told everybody to be ready to play.
But I mean, they're not going to fire him midseason. But there's no way they.
Could you imagine they did? What a fucking earth-shattering thing that would be.
I can't imagine.
No, they're not gonna.
But the team is playing like dog shit. At every level.
Dude, that was another game. What was it? 17-14, right? Was the final?
No, 10-7.
10-7. Oh shit! I even gave more points than they. Yeah, because I think I asked you, can they? What's the over/under on this? 19.
All right, so
but the Jersey Shore, dude, that's like that. I'm telling you, if he wins one more game, forget about it. He's a good fella.
You can't bench him now.
Danny Dimes is going to end up with Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh man! All right, I'm gonna go quickly now because I know you didn't watch any of these games anyway. So because they're dome games, but there was a first place game in Atlanta. The Saints 15.
I did watch the highlights, dude.
Atlanta
just
24.
because Atlanta wore those red helmets, and I'll watch them in the dome if they wear those red helmets. And they do have Huku Kim, Yoki Kuku Chu.
They got the Arthur, so there's some things to watch here. Anyway, the Falcons are now in first place.
Yeah, Arthur Smith, that mustache is starting to come in a little fuller now. He's feeling a little confident.
They're 5-6, so we'll be in the same situation.
Liza Minnelli's like her heart monitor started going like showed some signs of life.
We're gonna be.
But yeah, I didn't watch it. I just saw the helmets.
We're gonna be in the same situation at the end of the season. Whoever wins this division is not gonna have a 500 record, and they're gonna be hosting a playoff game.
Right, but that happens all the time.
I know. And I don't know what's going on with Derek Carr. Like he throws for 300 yards every week, but he never throws for a touchmetouchdown pass. I'm like,
and he makes bad, like he makes some bad,
and he
turnovers.
he throws a lot of picks in the red zone. So I think I mean it's got to be the Falcons or the Bucks, I guess, come out of that division. I don't know. But
who else is in that division?
The Saints and the Panthers. Obviously, the Panthers are out of it. All right. We'd be remiss if we did not talk about two other games in at least some detail. The Chiefs 31 at the Raiders 17. Watched a lot of this with Matt Pup and Dave and some other Raider fans.
Yes.
Linda. Raiders jumped out to a 14-0 lead, and I'm like, here we go. They're going to pull this off. And they jumped out the lead a little too quickly. I think it was the answer. And the Chiefs just pulled, came back. I don't know. I didn't watch that. I was like, you were
Portian. You were at Project Barley. We're fucking watching Joe sing songs.
Exactly.
Like, there's so much going on there.
Exactly. It's like four hours in.
And by the way, that was Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend.
Exactly.
People were crawling into that motherfucker. The only thing I still go back to, like, what's his name? O'Connell. If there's not a doppelganger for Derek Carr, I don't know who it is. When you turn, it's crazy.
I know. The other thing, like, it's just, like, here's the one thing I did want to say about this game. So Max Crosby, who has got a motor unlike anyone. No one comes close is probably T.J. Watt, but I'll even see that. He was the thus far this season, there's been 57 players listed as doubtful. He's the first one to play.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a goddamn.
Maybe it was.
Check out the big brain on Brad. In case we can't find it, that's a stat like a motherfucker. I'm gonna find one every week.
So
didn't he used to have, like, back in the day? Didn't he have like a drug alcohol problem? Like,
yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's why he's got all the ink and shit, right? But yeah, he's a bad man.
Yeah.
And they showed that clip of him and from the quarterback, the Netflix documentary.
Yeah,
with him and Mahomes. When Mahomes is like, "Come on, dog! I know what you're trying to do, but you don't have to punch me."
So anyway, Raiders they're still playing tough, but the Chiefs offense is starting to. I mean, we've said a lot about them. But the Chiefs' offense is starting to roll into shape. I have a feeling.
Right. No disrespect to all that Raider crew that was there. Like, did anyone really expect? I didn't.
No.
Yeah.
No,
okay. All right. We can move on. And that's the only dome game I'll watch, just because I want to see the owner.
Right.
See what the new hairstyle is. I told Pup, I'm like, God, I'm so pissed off. I don't have to get that haircut.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Sorry. So Broncos. 24 turned into 29 to 12 at the Browns were at the Broncos. Jesus, I really fucked that up. So this game was actually close. DTR was keeping him pretty close, and then he got
concussed.
He got welcomed to the NFL on a play, and then he went out, and the game kind of went sideways from that point forward for him. But we got to give a little credit to the Broncos. I mean,
I say it every week now for the last 2 weeks. I apologize profusely. And clearly, I don't know shit from Shinola. Certainly, I don't know as much as Sean Payton. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that where they got blown out in Miami, and they've won 5 in a row. I know they can win that division theoretically, right?
I heard that said too. Like they've let less touchdowns over the last 4 or 5 weeks than they let up in Miami,
right? Right, because they let up 9, right?
So yeah, the defense is playing well. Russ is, I wouldn't say cooking, but he's fitting in and
he's
plays.
Making throws. Like he's throwing touchdown passes, right?
So yeah, I think it's hard to. I think they're currently sitting out, but it's hard to imagine that I don't know. It's not hard to imagine, but like they do have some momentum. I mean, to sneak in, I think.
Yeah, and I got to believe that Sean Payton had LASIK because he hasn't like
no
it's
papers.
2 weeks now. He's not wearing them glasses, and it looked like the oak tag's gotten a little smaller.
Yeah,
like I couldn't read the plays.
Oh man,
maybe because I was just tired. I was fucking tired of football.
All right, so one other game I wanted to cover in some detail is the Ravens 20 at the Chargers 10. This actually was, I don't know. I don't even know I don't know how Brandon Staley has a job. I say that every podcast, but
right.
The Ravens are playing some serious defense, which scares me, being in their division. They are currently the number one seed in the AFC, and it's hard to imagine that changing. Although because they literally, like, we talk about it all the time, that people are, some teams can't beat, they don't beat teams with winning records. They demolish teams with winning records. You know what I mean?
But you're waiting for the injuries to come for them, because it always happens, right?
Well, they lost Mark Andrews.
Right. That's going to be big.
So yeah. So you thought. So
listen to that. I was like trying to give like a real analyst. That's going to be a big loss. That's a big loss.
So you're kind of wondering what the offense would look like, but that's kind of where I keep coming back. They have a game that works in cold weather. Obviously, they run the ball better than anyone, as good as anyone, and their defense is just. They have players at every level. I don't know how they keep doing it, because I actually thought they were going to be down this year in defense, but they got Kyle Hamilton, who's making plays. They got what's his name, that has never had a decent Clowney, hasn't had a decent season of 4 years. He's like got double-digit sacks.
Dude, I'll tell you what, like that combo of Ozzie Newsome and DePodesta, right? Is DePodesta now the new GM?
Yeah.
I think if you looked over the last 15, 20 years in the NFL, no team has acquired talent more efficiently than them.
I would. It's hard to argue with that.
Oh, and that was my first serious take in 2 fucking years.
But anyway, so
I think
the Chargers are what? What are they, fucking 4-8 now? I mean,
there's another dead man walking.
I mean, like, seriously, I mean, how I'm amazed he still has a job, to be honest.
Maybe I'm amazed at the way you love me all the time.
They're 4-7, and they have the highest. Again, just to repeat it, which we say every podcast, they have the highest paid defense in the NFL with a defensive head coach, and Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Elster Eckler, and they're 4-7.
Yeah, that's like hard. Like, what other coach could fuck up Justin Herbert?
How is that possible? I mean, Jesus, it just doesn't make any sense.
I think the Ravens will be fine as long as they fucking get their shit together with those end zone celebrations and stop pissing off Lamar. Like, when your quarterback goes like, "What were you doing?"
Exactly.
I was throwing a bouquet.
What?
Get the fuck out of here!
Get the fuck out of here!
I'm gonna get Ray Lewis to come down here and kick your ass.
That's so stupid. So did you see that though in this game? Speaking of touchdown celebrations, I forget who scored it. Might have been like, no, it wasn't Eckler.
Urkel? Was it Urkel?
No, Everett, their tight end, got in and did the Ray Lewis dance. And
I did see that.
Oh man!
And then, by the way,
and they were still down, by the way.
So was that Sunday night? That game? All right. So that, and here, I know he's your boy. He's your orange. He's in that picture with you for like the Orange Momentum 100, whatever, like Tirico. Happy shit. He tried to sell it as like, who was the guy?
Everett.
It's like Everett paying homage to Ray Lewis. I'm like, no, I don't think there's no homage.
I don't think there's any homage.
I don't care if you want to call it homage or homage.
Oh man. All right, now we are going to go rapid fire.
We still have more games?
Yeah, we have a lot more games.
Oh,
so,
fuck.
Rams 37 at the Cards 14, Cardinals 14. Stafford looked healthy. He threw 4 touchdown passes. The Rams, who at the beginning of the season, we talked about this as well, but the beginning of the season, we're like, they have the worst roster in the NFL. They're going to they're tanking, and like, you got to give Sean McVay a lot of credit.
This is the best coaching job he's ever done, and he's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think...
Hey, man, I got a baby. I'm doing a great coaching job. I don't even know who these guys. I got cuckoo.
I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs.
They could.
The NFC is a disaster. I mean, so it's hard. If Matt Stafford is healthy, and they got the running game going, the Kyrie Williams had 143 yards. If they get the running game going and Stafford's healthy, I mean, they can see.
Like, and he's related to Jim Stafford. Like, I don't like spiders and snakes. You don't remember that guy from the
No,
70s?
I do not.
Everyone look it up. It's on KTEL.
Okay.
KTEL 70s hits. Spiders and snakes, Jim Stafford.
But yeah,
I didn't watch that.
So Kyler Murray, it was the second game back. It was
came back to earth, right? Because first game back, he was
it was
like,
a little bit of a mixed bag, but
okay,
but we'll see. All right, 2 more games. Panthers and Titans. You want to spend any time on that one?
The coach got fired. I think we already covered that one.
Exactly. And I do want to spend some time on this one. Last night's game was the Bears 12 at the Vikings 10. Not last night. Jesus, what night is it? Monday night's game. Bears 12 at the Vikings 10.
This was like the Challenger shuttle for the Pastronaut.
Yeah. So one of the best stories of the year, obviously, has been Josh Dobbs, and he has been playing again. He is a journeyman. I mean, I don't think even he would take offense to that. But he's been playing well.
He's like, fuck that. I'm not a journeyman. I'm a fucking astronaut, man. I'm an astrophysicist.
In terms of what the NFL
right.
And he's played out of his head this year, and it kind of all came crashing down. He threw 4 interceptions, almost 5. There was another pick 6 that should have been caught.
Thank God they didn't put a teacher on that team, like that won the contest to go travel with the flight crew.
Oh man, too soon.
Whoa, no, it can't be too soon. That was what, 30 years ago?
No. Oh shit.
Yeah, that might be a snippet.
So,
and I didn't even write that shit down.
So the Bears are, so again, they hired a defensive coach, but now it's fucking, it shows that it works. So
right.
Defense is improving. They're like holding teams to nothing. But they have Justin Fields, and like they still can't feel. I mean, they have so much draft capital, as you were pointing out.
Dude, they're playing with the Bears, the one team in the NFL. They're playing with house's money.
Yeah.
The house's money,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, they
seriously.
really are. Like, it's like nothing that will happen the rest of the way.
But here's my thing though. Like, all right, so then, and you're not, trying to like get into the playoffs. You got to turn Justin Fields loose. He threw probably like 18 screen passes in this game.
No, yeah, he never throws it over 5 yards.
I'm like, dude, if you want to find out what you have, you got to find out if you can.
Dude, I'm telling you, my gut tells me this. Like, everyone says Caleb Williams generational, right? And then Drake May, who I haven't even watched, but and so now Justin Fields is at the point of his contract where they're going to have to
exercise
extend. They're going to have to extend the option as opposed to drafting somebody and pay him nothing. For the next 4 years. Or 3 years. It seems to me like it's no fucking brainer.
I think
because it hasn't worked.
I think that's kind of the conclusion they're coming to. But
so they're playing with house's money.
Exactly.
Like, but hey, maybe we'll win a game, maybe we won't. Carolina's not gonna.
Exactly. Let's do some scoreboard watching in that regard.
Like, could you imagine if they like draft? They'll fuck it up, but if they get Caleb Williams and Harrison Jr., like most people would be like, "Well, Dick arose from the dead." Where's Buddy Ryan?
All right. That's all I got.
That's it. I got two more notes that I wrote. That
empty your notebook, man.
No, I left it here, so I don't have a lot. I just wrote them down today. A couple new phrases I learned this week.
Oh, you did. This is the cliches of the week.
Cliches of the week. So there's a new one. Somebody's showing up and showing out.
Okay.
Have you heard that?
No.
Like, it's a lot of showing out.
I didn't.
And then when no longer are we, like you said it earlier, and I wanted to. No longer do you give props. Yeah, you give somebody flowers. Have you heard that either? Yeah,
no, I'm not paying attention.
You need to watch Good Morning Football.
Okay.
And my girl, Jamie Ertl. She's the bomb.
All right.
Schrager, not so much.
Sure.
All right, so I guess that's it.
All right. Programming note, we will be coming at you Wednesday next week, right?
Yeah, Pino's traveling.
Yep.
Unfortunately. But the Giants have a bye week, so what are we going to do? Like, Tommy is gonna die.
Exactly.
He's a good fella.
So next week's podcast will only be 40 minutes.
I forget. Yeah, I forget who the guy was. Like, they were talking about, hey, where Tommy went to get a sandwich or something like that.
I don't know, man.
And they were like, hey, it should be outside of Satrielli's. From Sopranos, where they sit outside.
Yeah, with the gabagool.
Yeah, hey, with the gabagool, and we're fucking Richie Apriu, says to Chrissy. Listen, I'm old school. You want to lay your hands on her, you give her your last name. Until then, you keep your hands in your pocket. Hey, they had a code.
They did. They did.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, happy holidays, everyone. Bye.